Hello guys, this video I'm going to show you how to set a primary key, foreign key, and the relationship between the tables in a database. So in order to help you to make it easier to understand it, I want to explain to you from the Excel file first. For example, so if I have a table to contain all the information of a student, it's including the student ID, student name, blah blah blah, the courses, the year, the cities that the student come from. But why we need to separate into different table and why we need to design a database? It's just because it helps us to receive the data quickly. Or for example, if you want to search, if you want to retrieve the information of a student just like the name and ID. So if you separate this, you just search to this field. We don't need to search all this table. And because if you store all the information in the same table like this, it takes time when you search as well. So that's why usually when we design the data, we usually group the characteristics similar into a table. So for example, this one. All this one is related to a student. So I separate into a table like this. We say this the student table. And the course with the year I separate into this one a table. And the name of a city, we say the table city table here. All right. And you can see in every table we usually, as I mentioned before, we have a primary key, and for this one as well. So just think student ID number 1, the name A, student ID number 2, name B, student ID number 3, name might be A, because in reality there's many students have the same name, but the IDs is almost different. They can't be repeated. So that's why we say the ID. And in the table, when you input the data in every record like this, you remember like a row like this, we say the record. And in each record like this, the ID has to be different. And so that's why we set a primary key for each table. In this case, we say this is the student ID for the table of the student. Similar to the course, because when we separate it here, we need to have the ID for them. You know why? Because there's many courses. Some courses have similar name, like logistics in 2018, 19, and 20. So I want to put the ID here to separate them. Course ID, and similar to the city name as well. In the world there's many cities have the same name. So to separate them and to know what exactly city, we put the ID for them. Or even though in our country we have 63 cities, and each city we assign our ID as well, an ID as well. So we say city ID. All right. So every table now we have the primary key. This is the primary key, and this is the primary key. And as I said, the primary key is the unit. The city can be the same name, but they have to have different ID. All right. So when you want to query, you want to get the information from students. So if you want to just get these informations. So you don't need to care about the cost, the blah blah like this. It saves your time. So if you want, because if you want to know where this student come from, so we need to know what city they come from and how to link them together. So in this case, we just put the ID of the city in here. And now for the table city, the city ID is the primary key, but when they are in the table student, they become to the foreign key. So now you know what the foreign key is. And if I want to know what courses that the students are studying or attending, I put the ID in here. Alright, and this one is belong to the foreign key. So if I want to know the so whenever we query, we don't need to query all this information. It depends on the information that you want to retrieve. So now I want to transfer all this information into a database. So for 3 tables, 1 table, 2 table, and 3 table, I can design a database. Sorry. So I got an empty database here. So I want to design this table first. So the table here. So I save it first. Say table student. Alright. And let's come back to the design view. You see, this one is automatic. I don't want to use this one, so I just want to delete it. So the first one is student ID. And the shortcut, I want to save the memory. I just put 6 digits, and we say like this. It's easier for you to follow. And the name, student name. Date time. Astrid. Number, right? Yeah, that's it. So save it. And now I create another table as well. So just save it. When you save it, they ask you the table, the name of the table. I put the table cost. This. Alright. Back to the design view. I also deleted this one as well. So where's the course ID? The same is 6. You say the name. That's fine. The name we can keep this one. Sorry, I don't feel good now. And the year. This one. Can be the number. That's fine. Oh, just the number. We don't need to data. 1 2 3 1 2 3, that's fine. Save it. And I'm going to create another table, save it, and we say table city. Come back to design view, delete this one, so city ID 6H1 6H1. This one, like this. Alright, save it. So now we have 3 tables, and see, when we open the table, it's shown here. Excuse me. So just close it. And now we start from table student. Come back to this one, design view. So I want to set up this one a primary key like this. So you click on this one. There are 2 ways for you to do it. You right click in here and you choose primary key. You see? Or if you unchoose them, you can click here and unchoose them. Or if you want to choose this one as a primary key, you right click here and choose this one. That's this one. But now we choose this one. Another way is that we can choose here. Look in here, primary key, almost the same. Save it. And now the table cost and the primary key here, primary key, and table city. Sorry. Primary key. Save it. So now I'm going to show you 3D table. So you go to database tool and you choose relationships here, click here, and 3 tables we have just created in here. You can choose one of them and add here, or you choose all of them. You press shift and add, close. Now you can see 3 out of table. 1 2 3 like this. Yeah. Oh, this one is, we don't see the primary key. You see the primary key here is student primary key, city primary key here. So this one is true, this one is true, but you see this one we have a spare field here, and this one is, we don't have the primary key here. You just come back. So what was a student and the course, we close it first. No, we close it first. We close it first. Okay, we come back to table student. Look, this one is spare one. The ID is okay, but this one's spare one. So we don't use this one. We don't use this one, so we delete the rows. Alright, save it. And the table codes, look, we still haven't got the primary key yet. So we click on this one, primary key, save it. Close all of them, yeah. Database tool, this one, and the same. 1 2 3. Okay, now you see 3 table with 3 primary key. You see? 3 field, 2 field, and this one first. However, as I told you, to link, to know where this student come from, we need to access to this table. Or you want to know what course that student are studying, we need to access this table. And to access the table, we need to connect them together. And to connect them together, we need to put 2 foreign key in here. So table student. So come back to table student. Close this one. You need to close it. You don't need to save. Do you want to save change to the layout? We don't need to save it. We do it later. So come back to table student. Disable. And now you need to put exactly the name, like course ID, this one. And look, be very dangerous if you have the field size is different with the original course table. Do you remember when we design course table, we put only 6, so this one also need to be 6, and we don't need to put a caption here, just put like this. The second one is the city ID. The city ID similar, need to be 2 in here. It's 6, sorry. Save it. Alright. Yeah, it's okay. Course ID, city ID. I close the table. And now database tools, relationship. Open this one. This one. Yeah. Now you can change the type as well. The size of the table. So now you can see this is the foreign key. This is the foreign key. You see the course ID and the city ID, but they are the foreign keys in the table student. So to link them together, you just click in here, click like this, and drag the mouse to this table. You see this, and you can click in here, enforce the referential integrity, and you need to do this one and to this one as well. You know why? If we don't click on this one, when you delete data in a table, the data from other table is not removed. I'm going to show you on the next video, but I just do off this one and create, and you see the primary key representative name number 1, and the foreign key this symbol. And the same with the table course. You click on the course like this, and you drag like this. The same. Alright. To make it easier, you can move this one like this. It doesn't matter. Like this, easier. Yeah. Again, we can delete the relationship by, you can click on this, you see, right click and delete. Yes, this one, delete. Yes, and do it again. This, or you can move from here to here. You see? The primary key is number 1 here. This is number 1, primary key. And the foreign key here. Yeah. And you can close it. They ask you to save it or not, you can save it. That's fine. So if you save it like this, oh sorry, when you open it, it's here. All right. Okay. So can you please do the same like this at home, please? Create 3 table, set up the primary key, push the foreign key, and make the relationship. So if I close this one, I close all this one, I close this one, and I open access this database. Sorry, my laptop is too old. So like this, you can see in here, and you can go to the database tool, click in here, and click in here, and here all what you have done is here. You see? On next video, I'm going to show you how to input the data when they have the relationship like this. Alright? Please don't forget to practice this one at home, because this one is very important. And in your midterm test, I'm going to ask you to do the same like this, with some data that you input by yourself. Alright? Thank you.